Hello, I'm Evelyn Block, and this is Invisible Thread. Today I'm talking with Frankie Telfort, founder of Old Bull Athletics, coach and mentor, about what happens when your whole life suddenly changes and what it reveals when it does. Quick note before we start. Frankie and I are both Seattle Seahawks fans. We recorded this right before the Super Bowl. Of course they won. Just wanted to note that going in. Here's Frankie. Hi, Frankie. I
Yeah,
want to hear about all of these things. You have a lot going on.
definitely a lot on my plate. But it's been fun. It's been great to, embody all those things and see how all of these things evolve over the last, man, we've been open for 11 years. So for the last 11 years.
Incredible. Incredible. Are you guys technically still in season with Gulliver? Like, how are you balancing all of this?
Yeah, so we are not in season. The season normally ends around like Thanksgiving time, like normal regular season, and then the playoffs, the postseason starts. But we recently just had our banquet for the football team and signing day yesterday. So
Ooh,
yeah, four of the six seniors are going to play on the next level in college, which is great. They all made the
amazing.
commitments yesterday, which is awesome. It's great to see. It's great to, be able to be with those kids from freshman year all the way to their senior year and see them grow. I think that's like one of the more fulfilling things for the sport. Like, yeah, winning games is great, but the mentorship and seeing the kids grow over year after year, and then once they eventually graduate, like college, and come back and say hello and like impacts and stuff like that, or ask, advice, life advice and stuff like that. I think is really cool. That's like one of the more fulfilling portions of coaching for me.
Hmm. I mean, you know this process intimately, this process of sitting at a table, signing, making
Yeah.
commitments, like doing all of that. I would love to hear your story because I think my perspective is that that is kind of how you got into what you're doing now. Um yeah, so I guess maybe this is a two-parter, like your experience, that experience, that moment, that like signing, that commitment process, but then also maybe before that, were you always into football? Like football was always football's life for Frankie? What did that look like for you?
Yeah. So I was introduced to the game of football at the age of 7.
Mhm.
And I played for a small team in South Miami called the Sunnyland Sun Devils. It's like an orange and black team. They look just like the Cincinnati Bengals. It's uncanny. We had like little cheerleaders on the sideline. It was like
Yes.
you get on the field, and I think my first year probably cried for the first time. The
As
first time
one
we had
does.
practice, I was like, Mom, why am I here? These people are mean. And I think after that year, I kind of got like into the swing of things, and like I think I loved it ever since. So I had played for literally a decade before the technical signing day. As you know, senior year was the last time Gulliver went to the state finals. But we had a very successful senior year. Long playoff road into ultimately losing in the state final. But, for me, it was a crazy journey. I accumulated 38 scholarship offers on the way there. Got to see some really cool things on my visits, my official visits, my senior year. So my top four was Stanford, University of Florida, USC, and LSU.
Mhm.
On my Stanford visit, I got to see open heart surgery,
Whoa.
which was like kind of interesting because when I walked in, it was me and one other recruit, who ended up being my roommate my freshman year at USC, which is kind of funny. But they're having the open heart surgery. This guy's chest is like pulled open, and the surgeons are listening to the Backstreet Boys. And I'm like looking at my friend, and I'm looking around like, this is so casual. Like, do they not see this guy's like whole chest open? Like, and like you can see the heart moving, but like they literally are running all of his blood through a machine, and like they're explaining everything to us, and I'm like, what am I over? I am in over my head right now. I don't know what's happening. This is not
Mhm.
so. That was like a really cool experience. And then yeah, like after that, they were like, yeah, let's go play laser tag with the rest of the group that came. Like I'm like, what? This is the strangest visit I've ever been on, but yeah, it was cool. It was a very interesting experience. But yeah, leading up to that, I didn't commit until signing day itself. So there was a lot of hype around it. I think the media loves these types of things because a lot of people play like hat shuffle, where they have
Mhm.
like one hat here, there, and they're like, "Oh, is it this one or is it this one?" I didn't do any of that. I literally just pulled a hat from behind my back and like put it on and explained to everyone why I was going where I was going. So.
Mhm.
But yeah, that day was definitely eventful. The 8 o'clock spot, I was driving to a studio to announce my commitment on ESPN at like 8 or 9 in the morning. And then in the afternoon, Gulliver always has a signing day on campus. So that was like another one for ABC, which
Mhm.
was local. And then that night they had another one for NBC. So it was a pretty eventful day. Obviously, I went to University of Southern Cal, but uh,
Mhm.
yeah, I think it was kind of surreal for my parents. It was surreal for me too, but I was just kind of like, man, like 10 years of like true work and dedication has definitely paid off.
Mhm. What was the deciding factor for you for USC?
Um,
Clearly, open heart surgery didn't do it for you.
yeah. Well, Stanford is awesome. Don't get me wrong. I was very close to going to Stanford. I think my biggest issue with Stanford was it felt not like Gulliver, like it felt
Mm,
like very like elitist, if you
mhm.
will, University of Florida is a good school, and obviously there was like, bright futures and all the stuff that was like afforded to us as like Florida residents, Florida residences that I thought could have been interesting, and make things a little bit easier for me. But ultimately, the pre-med route on that side of things felt uh I guess too boxy. I felt like I was put in a box. It was like too easy.
I have to ask a question. So
Yeah.
you were taking the pre-med route
Yeah.
while doing this. Okay, so you see, now it makes more sense to me
Yeah.
that they would show you
So
open
yeah,
heart
yeah.
surgery.
I should have prompted that. Yeah, I was going the pre-med route.
Amazing.
I ended up majoring in kinesiology or human sciences, which is like more of like the science of sport, the science of exercise physiology. Um, I did take pre-med classes, but didn't end up going to med school.
Hmm.
Found passion in a couple of other things after my career ended, and it's I think it's afforded me well, I would say.
Hmm.
And it's been interesting since then.
You're in school, you're studying kinesiology, you're learning about the human body.
Mhm.
How did that lead into the line of work that you're doing now?
Yeah. So when I got to campus at USC, I think I practiced with the team maybe for like 2 months before they kind of pulled me to the side. And after one of my bigger physicals, they were like, "Hey, there's something that we want to check out a little bit further." I ended up having a heart condition, so they flew me to the Marion Institute. Um, I ended up retiring at that point in time because they diagnosed me with hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. And literally right after that, that next year, that same year, going into the season, I became a student coach.
Hmm.
So I started coaching at the age of 18, 17, 18, because my birthday is August 8th, and like camp literally started on my birthday.
Hmm.
So, changed my pads out, changed my locker out for, a coaching hat, and, away I went trying to figure out what the playbook even was before
Wow.
anything happened.
Hmm.
Also, like, I don't know, when it comes to like retiring from a sport, it's almost like breaking up with a girl or breaking up with a significant other. Like, you see other people dating her and you're like, man, I want to play. But then, like it's a weird
Oh.
analogy, but it's like, man, I could do better than, like
A little
it's
heartbreaking.
it's it's heartbreaking, but I think after a couple of years, it was like the closest thing I can be to the sport without actually playing it. So
Mm,
um, I found like a true passion for it. Is it took a couple of years to like one learn the playbook because like what it was so much different than high school,
mhm.
um, but two, really be able to like stick my feet in and really try to like um, put things together where I could. So I ended up declaring my major in exercise phys with a pre-med route my junior year of college. And what was cool was a lot of my biomechanics classes put a lot of the science of the sport, like force vectors and comparing sprint starts like 2 point stances, 3 point stances, and 4 point stances, and seeing which one results in the fastest times. We even had like situations where we would do group classes for the volleyball team and see how we can get their horizontal speed faster. So like stimulus response, literally video overlays, and then like having them step on force plates, the force vector overlaid on the video, and then like week one compared to week eight, and then have them
Whoa.
themselves
How
afterward. It
cool.
was really cool.
So as you're getting to know the coaching side of football and you're learning all of this like anatomy, physiology in school and doing all these pre-med recs, were you already on the path that you knew where you were going with your undergraduate degree, or one was informing the other?
Yeah, I think what was cool was it was real life. Like it was
Right.
like I did it in the classroom and then it was like, yeah, I'm going out to practice today and I'm able to coach through, whatever this next imposed demand is for
Hmm.
the player, So I got assigned the libero to the volleyball team because obviously liberos have to have a lot of lateral quickness. I also coached linebackers, which is very similar. You have to have a lot of lateral quickness, but you also have to be able to be explosive when you get to wherever you need to be able to tackle. So it was cool to be able to, kind of merge those two things together, like the science of sport and then like the actual art of coaching, because, no one's gonna be like, hey, really push off the outside of your foot and make sure you stay low, like no one's
Hmm.
gonna respond to that. It's you gotta know your audience too. So you have to be able to deliver it in a way that that person trusts you as well as, has confidence in the fact that you can get them where they need to be.
That's a skill. That's a
Oh,
skill.
for sure. For sure.
Coaching is a skill.
It's definitely an
Incredible.
art. It's an art. When they say art of coaching, it is definitely that.
When you look back from where you're at now, is there a common thread that you see in your life that has kind of connected all of these experiences for you?
Um, Common thread. I think, you know, being active has always been a part of my life.
Hmm.
And the experience kind of afforded me different insights into the sport. So, you have an athlete that gets physical therapy, athletic training support. They get a strength and conditioning staff. They have their coaches on field. They have, their position coaches, So having like a conglomerate group of people be able to take care of one's health or performance, I think is very valuable.
Hmm.
And essentially kind of what I wanted to deliver in oval athletics. We have chiros, we have PTs, we have strength and conditioning coaches, we have coaches, and
Hmm.
most of the people that we hire are either student athletes prior or, have been at the Olympic level or pro athletes. Really trying to embody that and personify that into a brand was really my goal. But um, even after I left USC, I ended up coaching in the NFL for a brief stint with the Seattle Seahawks. And I think they ended up going to win the Super Bowl that year, which is weird because they're in the Super Bowl this year,
Yes, they
playing this
are.
Sunday. So go Seahawks. But yeah, even them, like being able to see the science and tech that they brought to the pro sports and seeing the caliber of athlete and being able to kind of transition into that realm as well, which felt very familiar, but you know, um, a lot different support when you don't have to worry about classes on top of things, definitely a pro setting.
So, Old Bull, let's talk about Old Bull.
Yeah.
You have another exciting opening. There's an official party, March
Yeah.
28th. You had your soft opening in December. Where is Old Bull going?
Yeah. So our third location is going to Merrick Park area. This is our third location. Our first location was in downtown Gables, which is still operating, and another location in Pinecrest. So both of those locations have been operating. Our Gables location is operating since 2018, and then our Pinecrest location has been operating since 2022. So we're on like this like open a new Old Bull path every like 2 to 3 years.
Hmm.
Um, this location I'm really excited about because I've done this a couple of times and I feel really good about this build out. I think the space is really pretty. I think it's very clean. I think we're just going to be able to build our community even more so in South Florida with this location as well. So we'll have a block party and I think really just trying to bring the community of Merritt Park into the Old Bowl community. I think it's going to be like our ultimate goal for that day.
Amazing.
Mhm.
Amazing. Have there been, I mean, this question is for, I guess, Old Bull's trajectory, but then also for your life. Through all of these experiences, are there any particular pivot points that you see or have like can really pinpoint through the process?
Yeah. So as a business owner, I feel like um, you're constantly trying to maximize efficiency. And with that, it might also mean that whatever your mission statement is, it might look a little different than what it started as.
Sure.
So really trying to change healthcare and trying to deliver the best care possible for our clients has always been our mission statement. Um, Hence why we do most of our training sessions one-on-one.
Mhm.
We do think that everyone is individualized, so they deserve individualized plans, and no 2 days are the same. You come in and you're like, oh, my back hurts, or hey, I twisted my ankle playing, tennis the other day. I can't just have you come in and do exactly what I wrote down on a piece of paper, right? Like we
Right.
have to pivot. So being able to see how some of these athletes were treated in these bigger arenas or high performance arenas um, lets me know that the same thing can be delivered to the next person. So we wanted to be able to deliver that in the best case scenario. So for us, we started off actually as a personal training company, and we outsourced a lot of our physical therapy.
Mhm.
Like I said, over time, we were like, well, we really wanted the physical therapy to be delivered a certain way, and the standard was like kind of all over the place since we outsourced it. So I was like,
Mhm.
you know what, let's bring this in-house, see if we can create some great standards around it. And then it turned into like really good results because we were able to like trial error, tweak, and deliver, I think, a really good product at the end of the day.
Yeah, I can speak to really feeling taken care of in your space. So, as you've moved through these transitions, again, it could be for Old Bull, but it also is for Frankie. What has helped you when things have come up that really feel uncertain? Because I have to say, for example, like your USC experience,
Mm.
that that's a hard hit. That's a hard hit to get. And then you're in this position where you're like, okay, well, what happens next? Where do I go from here? So how do you get clear about how you want to move forward in those moments?
Yeah. A lot deals with like faith. Um,
Yeah.
I'm a Christian. I've been in church for as long as I can remember. My mom's Southern Baptist, and she's her family's from Mississippi, so they are very religious. My dad is also religious, but really just like praying about it, getting really clear about what direction I want to go into, and then really like just trying to prepare for it. It's like It's it's uncanny how different life can be. And when you plan, how fast your plans can get spoiled. But truly like understanding that you have to continue going and continue pushing to the next step. You know, like what happened with USC, that's not the only time, I've faced adversity in my life.
Mhm.
As a business owner, I'll give you a candid one. 6 years ago, COVID, as a
Mhm.
business owner,
Yeah.
hey, all gyms shut down.
Right.
You can't operate.
Right.
Um, my landlord busted through the door when we were in our Alhambra Circle space and demanded to see my books and wanted all these was demanding all these crazy things. So I think he felt pressure, but also like my daughter was, I think she was 4 at the time. She
Hmm.
was sitting at the front desk, like looking at her iPad, and he's like yelling at me. I'm like, thank God she had headphones on, Like I think those points in times in life really kind of like one make you assess where you are,
Hmm.
two make you realize, okay, well, how do I make this worth it, and what situations are serving me, and then three was like, how do you pivot?
Hmm.
So I think really like just auditing your situation often, um, and really looking at which ways you can again be efficient and maximize yourself as a business owner, or even like your business model in itself is best case scenario. I speak to that because literally right after that situation happened with my landlord, I started looking for places to buy. And I was like, I'm done leasing from people, especially not people like this. Like
Hmm.
the world might end, you know, business might go away, but like in front of family, in front of a young child, like to act like that is incredibly irresponsible. So we actually bought our first location, the one that we're operating out of now in downtown Gables, like 5 months after that incident happened. So
Wild.
yeah, it was, I think, a blessing in disguise because if it never happened, I probably would have still been renting. But personally, I was like, I can't deal with this anymore.
Hmm. Whoa. But what a courageous step to take, you know? Whenever I feel a sense of hesitation or something coming on and I'm stalling, and then the stalling is like harder than making a decision at that point.
Sure.
It's like, okay, what am I doing right now? Where do I need to be expending energy? Because expending it where I am right now is going nowhere fast.
Right.
Yeah.
Truly. I think the hesitation can be a good time to audit, but truly like you can't stay in that hesitation. You can think about it, but not for too long.
Hmm.
Get paralysis and analysis, if you will,
Ooh, I like that one.
Gotta go. Can't think, can't audit too long. Gotta go.
No, you
But
can't.
yeah, honestly, people thought I was nuts when I did that. They're like, you're gonna do what in the middle of what? Like it was like October when we like closed on it. And they were like, you what? You did
Yeah.
what? Like you should be conserving right now. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Um, Ended up being a pretty big bet on me, big bet on Opal, and I think it worked out well.
I mean, and even if it doesn't, then you just have more information, and I'm
Right.
so I'm so glad that it did work out.
Yeah,
And this
truly.
space is amazing. And now you're growing and more spaces are coming. And what a
Totally.
gift.
Yeah, amazing. It's great. But yeah, that it definitely being uncomfortable is a good sign of growth. So
Hmm.
don't don't get don't get used to being comfortable for too long.
Hmm. I mean, it sounds like some of your pivots came from surprises. Like there was an announcement of something or like something happens and then there's a pivot. Were there any other surprises that kind of came about?
Um, no, I think the markets are constantly changing, right?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say it was necessarily a surprise per se, like as a business, but prior to COVID even happening, I did took a course called 10,000 Small Businesses.
Hmm.
It's put on by Goldman Sachs and Miami-Dade. and Babson is like the one that created the course. So as we were taking the course, it was like every Friday for like 8 hours,
Hmm.
which was nuts as a business owner because you're like, oh, I'm gonna dedicate one whole day on just like working on back end stuff for my business. Like that's insane. You want me to drive somewhere and be a student again? That's also insane. I have like real life issues going on, so
Hmm.
they were like all encouraged us to like turn our phones off and like really delegate whatever operations that was going on in the space to like go to that. But yeah, it was a crash course, 4 month crash course on how to basically create a growth plan. Ended up being like 80 pages for me by the end of it, which
Wow.
was, how you as a leader talked about sales and operations. It talked about, how to pitch and get outside funding, how to be bankable. So I think all of those things kind of helped me get really clear on how to operate a business and how to be more efficient at it. The course was great. I think it was a great introduction to all of these things. I had already been operating my business for a while to begin with, so I could put all of these things in place right away. It's funny because, I finished this growth plan and yeah, the surprise of COVID happens right after we get like a contract with the Miami Marathon and we're doing like recovery for like all of the VIP event people for this marathon. And then like, yeah, the world shuts down and this 80-page document that I spent 6 months preparing all went out of the window. So yes, a surprise, but then also like, okay, well, how do you pivot? You can plan, but then, how you also have to adjust. So
How did you guys adjust? Because the more that you say it and I'm thinking about it, I mean, you are in a full hands-on human to human body enterprise.
right.
So how do you continue to show up for people in a time like that? How did you?
Yeah. So we pivoted a decent amount of our sessions online.
Hmm.
Um, I actually turned over like 90% of my staff. So I lost the majority of them and basically took it as an opportunity to bring PT in-house. So physical therapy now is in-house at Old Bull as like a staple, building the pillars for that and finding a partner that made sense, which is Katie Dabrowski for the physical therapy realm
Hmm.
and really trying to bring systems and operations and all of the things that come like my community of people into that realm as well. So we're adding a service, we're adding online services, we're adding real estate to the company. That's kind of how we pivoted. I terminated that lease as soon as I possibly could. I got stuck on it for like another 8 months leading into the new year. But truly, we were able to get out within time. It was expensive, but such is life. So really just like figuring out what made sense for the horizon. We also doubled down on cleaning services. So we cleaned way more. We had our staff clean way more. We would also wear masks, which in hindsight now, I'm not sure how effective they were, but it was like something that made people feel more comfortable in the space. And then we also staggered our sessions, so there was no more than like one or two people taking sessions in the space at a time. So and they were social distancing and all the rules that were happening at the time. We
Sure.
even like marketed that way. It was like come in, temperature check, all of the stuff that they had us mandated to do for all
Hmm.
clinics. So yeah, I mean, we made it through it, and I think the people that didn't pivot or didn't that sat in paralysis for too long, I think lost their business, unfortunately. I saw a lot of businesses die that year.
Yeah.
Uh, some of my favorite ones too, like some really cool business owners that had been in the Gables for like 20, 30 years,
Hmm.
poof, gone
Yeah.
because of COVID. So
Yeah. It was a big transition time, I think, for everyone. Looking forward, what is getting you really excited right now?
um a little bit of everything. I mean, growth is awesome. I think I'm like you kind of get a new fresh start on like on new areas and what you kind of already had some push behind. We've been building the brand for the last 11 years, so
Mhm.
this area is not new to us per se, but we are afforded different things because we're so close to the mall, and there's a lot more concierge doctors that are popping up in the area of Merrick Park that we've been basically partnering with to get new clients and stuff like that. So yeah, they're more susceptible to the partnership because of the fact that we kind of already established a brand, and I think a positive one at that. And then yeah, like coaching is always fun. I have a 10-year-old daughter. She just turned 10 January of this year. And she's awesome. She's super happy all the time. She loves anime, which is like ironic.
Love
Um,
that.
she's obsessed with Japan. She's like a little she's like a little nerd, little nerd Frankie. Like when I was a kid, she loves to draw, she loves to paint. She's constantly painting, she's constantly drawing. She loves to read. So she's awesome. But like yeah, those are a few things that like make me excited. For the future of Old Bowl, I think we're just getting started, honestly. Like I have a really good algorithm for what works for our business model, and I think we deliver a really good product, as well as efficient. And then like yeah, our conglomerate and our community continues to grow because of it. So those are some of the bigger things.
What's your daughter's name?
Her name's Emma Rose Telfort.
Happy birthday, Emma Rose Telfort.
I'll
That's,
tell you say so.
yeah, please. How incredible. I mean, so many beautiful things going on in your life and so much expansion and growth and things coming down the line. Yeah, I feel like you're building towards a pretty excellent future. I do want to ask how you define success for yourself.
Yeah. So I read a book called The Science of Happiness. And I figured if I'm happy, then that is the sign of success, right? But science of happiness talks about like the things you can do every day that will ultimately make you happy. And it's like kind of weird because like, is this the chicken or the egg? Like, which one comes first? Am I happy because I do these things, or am I doing these things because I'm happy? You know,
Hmm.
and there's a few things that were on there. It was like exercise for at least 30 minutes a day.
Hmm.
It was like go out and walk. I mean, obviously I strength train and stuff like that. I also walk, but some type of cardio for 30 minutes a day, hold the door open for someone, take a gratitude journal. So all of my business ideas and stuff like that are in my gratitude journal, which also dubs as like a pseudo like sketchbook sometimes if I have like an epiphany at any point in time.
I love
Um,
that.
so good. A reflection journal. If something happened that was really positive that day, being able to write it down, science says that that ultimately will make you happier. And then, some type of act of gratitude or act of service for a stranger or someone, a loved one, paying for someone's toll behind you, or, opening the door for someone, or paying for someone's food or their smoothie or whatever it is. So I try to do those things daily.
Mhm.
I find that to be successful in its own right, because if you're not happy while you're doing the thing, um, the goals don't mean anything, you know? A lot of times people look at the mountaintop and they're like, man, I can't wait to get there. I'll be happy when I get there. But the true love for it is falling in love and being happy during the process, because you're going to spend most of the time climbing the mountain, not at the
Mhm.
top.
Oof. That's true. I also love that you keep a gratitude journal. How long have you been doing that for?
Oh man, I read that book 8 years ago. So since then, and
Wow.
I actually go back to my old journals. I'm like, whoa, you
How
know,
things have changed
like
or
2017,
not.
what the heck?
I love I have a journal. I have never called it a gratitude journal, but there is a lot of gratitude in the journal.
For
It's more
sure.
of like my mind dump place.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that resonates.
Yeah.
Endless place for expression.
Totally. I mean, you don't have to like name it anything per se, but I think, even just the act of journaling in itself, is one of the more powerful things for the science of happiness.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think there's a couple of really powerful things with that too, like manifestation, being able to speak things into existence. Um, again, if you look at my journal, I'll show you I'll send some photos after this talk. But I spent when we first got into our space, I spent a really long time just like drawing what I wanted the front desk area to look like. It's like this would be cool. I would love this. I want to take from these other things that make opal, and like this is the vibe that I'm feeling. This is what I want. And like if you look at my sketch and then you look at the front desk space, you're gonna be like, what?
I was
It's
about to
really
ask, how close
like
did you get?
it's really close. It's like it's
Incredible.
super close. So yeah, it is really powerful. Honestly, it really is.
Wow. Yeah. Also, for anyone listening who doesn't know, Frankie is an excellent artist. So this is by no means some chicken scratch situation. This is like, I know he's sitting there, you're sitting there taking your time and you're really
Oh,
putting
totally,
in the effort to like
totally,
make
totally.
this illustration as real to life as possible.
Totally, for sure. Yeah. But yeah, I
Incredible.
mean, still a sketch at the end of the day, but yeah, it was fun. It was cool to be able to see it come to fruition.
I also just kind of want to like repeat back to you defining success as enjoying the process of building essentially and growing is so beautiful to hear because I think that whenever you're embarking on a new project, it can be very daunting and there are going to be speed bumps or things that you don't expect to come up, or you're going to end up wearing a lot more hats than you thought you were going in with. And to just be open to that process. I know that I have like a pretty harsh inner critic sometimes, and I can absolutely be a perfectionist to my downfall, and I need to keep her in check a little bit. But if you can just take it all in, the all of it, the messiness of that process,
Yeah.
that's a really magical place to be.
Yeah.
And I definitely feel like it's a spiritual place. It doesn't necessarily have to be equated with that, but I equally lean on my faith as well
Mhm.
and pray. And for me, I often come back to nature. Nature is that place for me time and time again. Like I just need to go take a walk and be outside or be next to the ocean or something. We're very lucky in South Florida to have access to some pretty incredible natural spaces.
1,000%.
Yeah.
I definitely I can attest to that too. I think being able to slow down too is like another way to be really creative in that sense when the world feels really busy. Um, so yeah, no, I totally get that. Now, in the beginning of every year, I've made this a tradition to not be in Miami for New Year's.
Hmm.
Like what comes with New Year's, people like popping bottles of champagne, staying up really late, drinking, getting drunk, bringing in the new year. I now ring in the new year on the side of a mountain somewhere, like snowboarding somehow, some way. It's a slower time for us for the gym anyway, and like no one's doing anything in the city of Miami at that time because like everyone's emails is like, see you after the break. Good luck getting your permits in.
Yeah.
Forget about that. So yeah, like taking the slow time and really like leaning into it, I think is a great thing. But yeah, to speak to getting to nature, I think that's super important.
Ooh, so good. So good. I went with some friends out to the 10,000 Islands for New
Oh
Year's
wow,
this year, and that was pretty incredible. I'm with you. That is by far my favorite way to ring in the year. Yeah,
you had no choice. You had to be present the entire time.
exactly. Yeah, you
No
have to slow
phone,
down.
no.
Okay, so what advice would you give your younger self?
Hmm. What advice would I give my younger self? Like how young are we talking?
That's up to you. if it's easier to picture, if there's, what's advice that you give your daughter like about life, about this thread or threads in our lives?
Yeah. So I think some of the things that I would tell my younger self and kind of what I echo to my daughter, but I try to do this in more creative ways is start early.
Hmm.
If you think you're interested in certain things or you find yourself gravitating towards things in a certain way, lean into that. Don't like shy away from it. And really just the sooner you can do, you know. Funny story about this whole time with COVID and, Emma being 4. I ended up starting like a small like bakery business for her called Emma's Treats. And, I did the whole thing. I did the whole 9 yards. I put the social media together. I put the logo exploration together. I let her pick all the colors. I let her pick, the mascot. It's just like it ended up being a unicorn at the time. Obviously, every 4-year-old's favorite thing. It was like the same color as her skin tone, and then also like pink, and there's like a cotton candy version portion to this. And we were selling ice cream sandwiches. So it was like she put this thing together. I was like, Emma, like, this is your business. Like, what are you gonna do? What's your mission statement? She's like, I want to make people happy with treats. And I was like, wow, like amazing, I think I got a little too carried away with it because literally 2 orders later, when someone was ordering 100 of them at one time, I was like, oh, I need to shut this down. I have way too many things to do. We're gonna bookmark this one.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think yeah, just start early. And now, she still talks about it, this past summer, she was like, "Oh, I want to start back up my MS Treats business," and she's like, "Oh, I want to sell this type of cookie." And I was like telling her about how she could have ChatGPT put together like a menu for her, and she doesn't know how to market. Cool, here's like a book that Shark Tank wrote for kids, and it's like she's like embodying all these things. She read the book in a day, and I'm like, okay, I'm like, now what? Like, so. I think for her, when she gets to become 18, she's 10 now, 8 years from now, after having all these experiences and finding ownership and finding, the opportunity to be able to sell something or, get transactional situations on the back end, that is a skill in itself. And the more you do it, the better you get at it. So, yeah, I would say start early. I think if I would have had that early on, not saying that I wouldn't be successful now, but I think a lot of the mysteriousness of one, how to sell, how to deliver a good product, and 3, how to market, it would be a lot less daunting if it was like already something that I had been like practicing early.
I think that's incredibly valuable just to be introduced to those things so young or, at any point in your youth as you're figuring out what you might want to do or what feels good. And that she has this outlet that already exists. Emma's Treats is pretty incredible and she can always plug into it as her heart desires.
Yeah. And if she wants to change it, like go for it, pivot. That's like part of being an entrepreneur.
I'm just also like, go girl. I can't believe you finished that book in a day. That's
Yeah.
incredible.
Rush. She's a little bookworm, man. I'm telling you, it's wild. It's
I
wild.
love it. Wow. I am one as well. Like I can relate.
I couldn't tell
Um,
with all the books in the
I know.
background.
So a little unrelated,
Yeah.
a
Mhm.
favorite song and movie. And since we're talking about books, if you have a favorite book too, I'd love to know.
No, yeah, I read a lot of books. I think favorite song. I don't think I have a favorite song currently. I think I'm really excited about J. Cole's new album
Mhm.
that drops tomorrow, actually, which is it'll be fun to listen to. Um, I do find myself listening to various genres when I work out, so it really just depends on like what my mood is for that month or
Sure.
like that week. Favorite book, I would say is The Slight Edge. It was like a self-help book, one of the first self-help books that I read, that kind of like put me on this like weird cascade of like habits. And if we are what we repeatedly do, then we are our habits kind of realm. It kind of made me like audit my life the same way I would do my business, but really see like what I was pouring into as an individual, as a person. So Slight Edge, I think, really like helped me change the way I looked at life as a father, as a business owner, just as a human being altogether. Um,
Amazing.
and then my favorite movie, I think my favorite movie is probably Scarface,
Oh, a Miami classic.
a Miami classic. Yeah, honestly, um, mainly just because of like the coming of age aspect to it. Like, I mean, I don't condone of selling drugs or doing drugs at all, but more so just like to see that, you know, those things have consequences, but then also like the pure determination of what you want can be achieved by any means necessary.
Wow, fully love that takeaway from that movie because I don't know if at the time I was watching it a lot more, I haven't seen it in a long time.
Hmm.
You know, my eyes always gravitate towards like the color and the fashion and the design and the landscape and the architecture and like it's so reflective of the 80s, you
Right.
know? Um, so I was definitely mesmerized by that aspect, but I love you lesson pulling from Scarface.
Yeah,
Honestly, I
so good. It's like, I mean, the opening scene, he's sitting down across from like the cops, and they're like, "We know you're a political refugee," and he's like, "You don't know me, And then like the
yes.
last scene, like the jealousy, the power can corrupt, like all of the things, the lessons in between. Like it's like
How timely and appropriate. I will definitely be rewatching.
you should definitely rewatch Scarface. It's long though, so maybe in parts, but like yeah, so good.
It's a classic.
Definitely a classic.
Frankie, thank you so much for taking the time, for having this conversation with me, for being so open and vulnerable and honest about all the things.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for having me.
Yes,
Appreciate you.
appreciate you.